This one's going to be a bit different than my usual fare. For those of you who might not know, and why would you? I have never talked about it on this channel, I think. I am from India, specifically from the state of West Bengal. And Bengal has a rich history of comics, which finally led to an acknowledgement from the Eisners. For those of you who don't know, it's basically the Oscars, but for comics. And they nominated a Bengali comic for the Best Digital Comic of 2026. The comic in question, Lublu Prithivi, or as it is known after being translated, The World of Lublu. Now, before we get into what Lublu Prithivi is about, I think a brief history of Bengali comics is in order. In 1921, Shukalata Rao, a social worker and a children's artist, created what is widely considered the first Bengali comic called Jemon Kormo Temon Phol, about a story of a boy, his teacher, and a milkman. However, while she was the first, it took prolific creator Narayan Debnath to make the medium much more known to a wider audience. He created several works that were aimed at an all ages audience, which would kind of become a pattern that Bengali comics would be stuck in, for better or worse. There were creators like Mayuk Chaudhary and the aforementioned Narayan Debnath himself who did try to produce slightly more mature comics. But sadly, Bengali comics never really had their Bronze Age, which did open the door for these topics to be discussed in American comics. The medium would also shift more towards adaptations and translations over original work, with most of Narayan Debnath's early work being reprinted over and over again for nostalgia. Also, despite the creator who started it all being a woman, female creators and protagonists would be a minority overall. So, while I wouldn't say Bengali comics are an endangered art form, no more than comics throughout the world, to be honest, it is certainly on the niche side. There is still new material being produced, often taking inspiration from the trends of the times. But it is still niche. Lublu Prithivi comes to us from artist Charbak Dipto, who both wrote and drew the comic. The story centers around Lublu, a boy with quite the vivid imagination. The plot focuses around Lublu and his friend Kim going to see a magic show. However, the actual draw of the comic is there, as well as the other characters they meet, musings on reality and how we perceive it. While I won't go into the story since I want people to actually read it, translated or otherwise, the story does ultimately drive home the idea that we kind of need to accept the reality we perceive in order to stay grounded, which is pretty awesome in my eyes. Charbak Dipto does fantastic work with the art, giving the book a very unique look that not a lot of people outside of Bengal have seen. The writing, despite its high concept, still has an all ages vibe. Basically, it's a mix of Bengali writer Shukumar Rai, who is the brother of the aforementioned Shukalata Rao, and a all ages Grant Morrison comic. Uh, but I think both kids and adults will get a kick out of reading this. If you ask me, this is the type of book a kid would love when they first read it. A teen would scoff at and think it would be uncool to like it. And after maturing into an adult, they would appreciate what the story was trying to say. Regardless of whether or not Lublu Prithivi wins the Best Digital Comic Eisner 2026 award, it doesn't matter because I think it the nomination has done its job by bringing attention to this type of comic. Personally, I don't really care about the Eisners. And I feel we as a society have kind of moved beyond awards mattering for this kind of thing. But I'm a sentimental guy, and how can I not want something that showcases my neck of the woods to win?